Part 2. My parents disinherited me for being poor. Now they all work for me. I had sudden flashbacks about my family, and all those years I spent trying to forget about the past just came flooding back. I remembered my childhood and the differences in how we were treated. Yet, it seemed like my brother didn't recognize me. After all, the last time he had seen me, I didn't have a full-grown beard and was a little chubby. I asked about his experiences and why he wanted to work here. He told me that he was looking for a way to support our parents after their restaurant went bankrupt. I asked if he had a degree, to which he said that he was a college dropout. Despite the anger I had felt over the years about how my parents treated me, I didn't feel any satisfaction in seeing them suffer. Instead, I felt sad. I offered my brother a job, not just out of pity, but because I believed he could become something more. My brother was a quick learner, and he had the skill of understanding people and getting along with them. This trait made him an excellent salesperson. Watching him grow and thrive was a bittersweet moment for me. My mother recently visited the dealership one morning to drop off some lunch for my brother. You know how mothers always recognize their kids. Well, my brother decided to introduce me, and it took just a couple of seconds for her to realize I was her oldest. Her eyes started tearing up, and she came to me with a hug. I stood there in silence, trying to hold back my tears. My mother looked at my little brother, who looked confused, and asked him who I was. She told him that I was his older brother. My brother's confusion turned into astonishment, and then joy. He hugged me as well, and it felt like I had my family back. We sat down in my office, and my mother, still wiping tears, began to apologize for everything. She explained how, after I left, things started going downhill for them. My father's restaurant struggled to stay afloat amid financial troubles, and eventually had to shut down. They were too proud to reach out to me. My brother, feeling the weight of being the golden child, cracked under pressure and dropped out of college. He had been accepted to a top university, but realized that there were far smarter people than him, which made him feel below average. My mother asked if I wanted to meet my father, and I told them yes. After work, I entered the small, cluttered apartment where my parents now lived. Memories flooded back. Lots of happy memories, but also lots of pain and disappointment. I saw my father, who was once a towering figure of authority, now looking frail and worn. We stood there awkwardly until my father spoke. His voice cracked as he simply said, "I'm sorry." His eyes brimmed with tears as he apologized for the way he had always treated me growing up. In that moment, I felt something shift, and I wanted to forgive him. I embraced my father and told him that it was okay and that all of us should move on from this. From that day forward, our relationship began to mend. We talked, laughed, and cried. We shared stories and memories, and we began to rebuild our relationship. I offered my parents jobs at the dealership. My father, once a proud restaurateur, brought his experience into managing the dealership's operations and ended up finding a new passion in the process. My mother became part of the customer service team and was often praised by customers for her warmth and care. As for my brother, he continued thriving in sales and was on his way to becoming one of our top employees. In the end, my family and I rebuilt our relationship together. It's never too late, and I'm thankful my brother reconnected me with them after all these years.